Mastering time, the key to extraordinary living. Time, the one resource that treats all of humanity equally. The wealthy cannot buy more of it, the powerful cannot command it to slow down. The brilliant cannot outsmart its steady march forward, yet somehow, some individuals master time in ways that allow them to live extraordinary lives within the same 24 hours we all receive each day. What is their secret? How do they harness the hours available to them while others feel enslaved by the ticking clock? Consider this: if you live to be 80 years old, you will have approximately 29,200 days on this earth. How many have already passed? And more importantly, what will you do with those that remain in this next hour? We will explore the art of mastering time, how it shapes our lives, how we can command it rather than be commanded by it, and how understanding its true nature can transform your existence from one of constant urgency to one of extraordinary impact and fulfillment. Join me on this journey to unlock the secrets of time mastery and discover how this understanding might be the key that changes everything for you. Section 1. Time as our pathway to extraordinary living. The ancient Romans had a saying, "Tempus fugit," time flies. Yet unlike birds that return with seasons, time never comes back. This reality makes time our gateway to extraordinary living, far exceeding the value of money, material possessions, or even relationships. For without time, we cannot earn money, enjoy possessions, or nurture connections with others. Consider Sarah, a high-powered executive who spent 20 years climbing the corporate ladder. She worked 16-hour days, missed her children's milestones, postponed vacations, and neglected her health, all with the promise she made to herself that someday she would enjoy the fruits of her labor. That someday never came. At 45, Sarah received a diagnosis that changed everything. Sitting in her doctor's office, hearing that she had perhaps a year to live, the truth struck her with painful clarity. She had exchanged irreplaceable time for replaceable wealth. The revelation transformed her approach to her remaining days. Sarah stepped down from her position, reconciled with her now adult children, and embarked on experiences she had long postponed. In her journal, she wrote, "I've learned to late that mastering time isn't about filling every moment with productivity, but investing each hour in what truly matters. No amount of money can buy back a single yesterday." Sarah's story reminds us that we often misunderstand the value equation of time. We trade time for money throughout our lives, yet at the end, we would trade all our money for more time. Unlike other resources, time cannot be stored. You cannot save today's unused hours for tomorrow. Time cannot be borrowed. No one can give you their hours or lend you their days. Time cannot be multiplied directly. You receive precisely 24 hours each day, no more, no less. Time cannot be paused. It continues its relentless advance regardless of our readiness. Understanding these fundamental properties of time creates a necessary sense of purpose. Not the anxiety-inducing urgency that leads to burnout, but the intentional focus that informs wise choices and leads to extraordinary living. When we truly internalize the irreplaceable nature of time, our decision-making transforms. We become more intentional, more present, and more discriminating about how we allocate our hours and minutes, choosing paths that lead to exceptional outcomes rather than merely acceptable ones. Let us now examine how we might shift our perspective from viewing time as a limited resource we constantly lack to seeing it as the key that unlocks extraordinary living. Section 2. The psychology of time perception. Our experience of time is remarkably subjective. Have you noticed how time seems to crawl when you're waiting in line but flies by during moments of joy or engagement? This psychological phenomenon offers profound insights into mastering the power of time. In 2012, Stanford professor Philip Zimbardo introduced the concept of time perspectives, the often unconscious attitudes we have toward time that dramatically influence our decisions and happiness. His research revealed that people generally fall into several time orientation categories. Past-focused individuals dwell on previous experiences, either nostalgically or with regret. Present-focused people live primarily in the moment, either hedonistically or fatalistically. Future-oriented individuals prioritize planning and working toward goals. The most successful and fulfilled people, Zimbardo discovered, maintain a balanced time perspective. They learn from the past, enjoy the present, and plan for the future. Consider the story of Marcus, a talented musician who struggled for years with procrastination and missed opportunities. After participating in a workshop on time perspective, Marcus realized he operated almost exclusively in what psychologists call present hedonism, seeking immediate pleasure with little regard for future consequences. This revelation explained why, despite his extraordinary talent, he repeatedly failed to complete projects, prepare adequately for performances, and build a sustainable career. His relationship with time was undermining his potential. Marcus began the difficult work of developing a more balanced time perspective. He established morning routines that connected him to his future goals. He practiced mindfulness to enjoy the present moment without being controlled by momentary impulses. And he revisited his past not to dwell in regret but to extract valuable lessons. Within 18 months, Marcus's career transformed. He completed an album he had abandoned for years, established consistent practice habits, and built financial stability through careful planning. Most importantly, he reported a profound shift in his experience of time from feeling perpetually behind to feeling properly oriented within the flow of his life. The lesson from Marcus's story extends to all of us. Our subjective perception of time significantly impacts our ability to harness its power. When we feel perpetually rushed, anxious about deadlines, or trapped in regret about the past, we cannot access the creative, productive energy required to use time effectively. By developing awareness of our time perspective, we can begin to reshape our relationship with time. Consider these reflection questions. Do you frequently revisit past regrets or reminisce about the good old days? Do you regularly sacrifice future stability for present enjoyment? Do you postpone present happiness continuously in pursuit of future achievement? Does time feel like an adversary constantly working against you? Your answers reveal your time perspective and suggest areas where rebalancing might be necessary. The power of time becomes accessible when we develop a harmonious relationship with all three time zones: past, present, and future. Now, let us explore the practical strategies that can help us translate this psychological understanding into tangible results. Section 3. Time Management vs. Energy Management. For decades, productivity experts have focused on time management, scheduling, prioritizing, and organizing our tasks efficiently. While these approaches offer value, they often miss a crucial dimension of human performance: energy. Time is constant, but our energy fluctuates. 1 hour at your peak energy might yield results that 5 exhausted hours cannot match. This insight shifts our focus from managing time to managing energy within time. James, a history teacher in Chicago, discovered this principle through painful experience. For years, he prided himself on working longer hours than his colleagues. He would arrive at school by 6 a.m. and often stay until 8 p.m., grading papers, planning lessons, and handling administrative tasks. Despite his extraordinary time commitment, James found himself increasingly ineffective. His lessons became uninspired, his patience with students diminished, and his passion for teaching waned. Most troubling, despite working nearly twice the hours of some colleagues, his students' outcomes were merely average. The turning point came when James attended a professional development workshop on energy management. There, he learned about work-rest cycles and the science of peak performance. He discovered that human beings naturally operate in ultradian rhythms, approximately 90-minute cycles of high energy followed by periods of fatigue. James redesigned his approach. Instead of working in a sustained 8-hour block after school, he identified his natural energy peaks early morning and late afternoon and scheduled his most demanding work during these windows. Between these periods, he incorporated true breaks, a walk outside, brief meditation, or even a short nap in his office. He reduced his total working hours by nearly 40% but distributed his efforts strategically across his energy cycle. The results astonished him. His lesson plans improved, his classroom presence became more dynamic, and his students' performance surpassed previous years. Most importantly, his love for teaching rekindled. James's experience illustrates a fundamental truth about the power of time. Its value depends entirely on the energy we bring to it. High-energy focused time creates exponentially greater results than low-energy distracted time. Consider these principles of energy management that complement traditional time management. 1. Identify your chronotype. Are you naturally more energetic in the morning, afternoon, or evening? Schedule your most important work during your natural peak periods. 2. Structure your day around work-rest pulses rather than continuous effort. Intense focus for 60 to 90 minutes followed by genuine recovery creates sustainable productivity. 3. Recognize energy drains in your life, toxic relationships, excessive commitments, physical environment issues, and address them systematically. 4. Invest in energy-enhancing practices, adequate sleep, proper nutrition, regular physical movement, meaningful connection, and purposeful work. By shifting our perspective from time management to energy management, we unlock a different dimension of time's power. The question transforms from how can I fit more into my day to how can I bring my fullest energy to my most important priorities. This approach honors a fundamental truth. Time itself is neutral, but how we show up within time determines its impact on our lives and the world around us. Section 4. The Compounding Effect of Time. In 1736, Benjamin Franklin wrote, "Time is money." While this phrase has become cliché, it contains profound wisdom when properly understood. Like money, time possesses the remarkable property of compounding. Small, consistent investments yield extraordinary returns over extended periods. Consider Jennifer, who discovered running at age 43. Out of shape and uncertain, she began with just 10 minutes of slow jogging 3 times per week. Many would dismiss such a modest effort as insignificant, but Jennifer understood the compounding power of time. She gradually increased her capacity, adding 1 minute to her runs each week. This incremental approach seemed almost trivially slow. After all, at that rate, it would take her 50 weeks to reach an hour of running. Yet Jennifer remained patient and consistent. She tracked her progress meticulously and celebrated small improvements. When friends suggested more aggressive training schedules, she declined, trusting the compounding effect of her modest but sustainable approach. 3 years later, Jennifer completed her first marathon. Not only had her physical capacity transformed, but her identity had fundamentally shifted. She now saw herself as an athlete, something she had never imagined possible in her first 4 decades of life. Jennifer's story exemplifies how time compounds our efforts when we harness its power through consistency. The math is simple but powerful. A 1% improvement each day for 1 year results in a person 37 times better than when they started. A 1% decline each day for 1 year leaves a person at a fraction of their original capability. This compounding effect applies across all domains of life: health, relationships, skills, knowledge, and financial resources. Small actions, repeated consistently over time, yield results that appear almost magical when viewed retrospectively. However, compounding works in both directions. Just as positive habits compound into remarkable achievements, negative patterns accumulate into significant problems. Missing one workout has negligible impact, but a pattern of skipping exercise compounds into poor health. A single harsh word to a loved one means little, but a habit of criticism compounds into damaged trust. The journalist and author James Clear captured this principle perfectly when he wrote, "Time magnifies the margin between success and failure. It will multiply whatever you feed it. Good habits make time your ally." Bad habits make time your enemy. To harness the compounding power of time, consider these approaches. 1. Focus on systems rather than goals. Goals are important for direction, but systems, the daily processes and habits, determine your trajectory over time. 2. Reduce your emphasis on immediate results. The most powerful outcomes develop invisibly at first, becoming apparent only after consistent investment. 3. Value consistency over intensity. A moderate effort sustained over years will outperform brief periods of extreme effort followed by abandonment. 4. Track leading indicators rather than lagging results. Measure the inputs you control, daily habits, rather than fixating solely on outcomes. The compounding effect of time reveals its true power only to those with patience and vision. While our culture celebrates overnight success, sustained achievement comes from understanding that time converts small, consistent actions into extraordinary results. Section 5. Kairos vs. Chronos, the two dimensions of time. The ancient Greeks recognized something that our modern society often overlooks: time has two distinct dimensions. They used separate words to describe these dimensions: Chronos and Kairos. Chronos refers to sequential time, the ticking clock, the turning calendar, the measured progression of moments. It's quantitative, objective, and universal. When we speak of time management, deadlines, schedules, and efficiency, we operate within the realm of Chronos. Kairos, by contrast, represents the opportune moment, the right time for a particular action, regardless of what the clock shows. It's qualitative, subjective, and situational. Kairos embodies timing, ripeness, and the recognition of pivotal moments that carry disproportionate significance. Thomas, a successful entrepreneur, learned this distinction through a painful lesson. For 15 years, he built a technology company with relentless focus on Chronos efficiency. Every minute was scheduled, every process optimized, every meeting timed to the second. His obsession with Chronos productivity helped his company grow steadily, but something was missing. During a rare vacation forced by exhaustion, Thomas encountered an article about Kairos and ancient philosophy. The concept resonated deeply, revealing what his approach had lacked: a sensitivity to timing, opportunity, and the unique quality of certain moments. Upon returning to work, Thomas began integrating Kairos awareness alongside his Chronos efficiency. He created space in his schedule for reflection, relationship building, and observation of market trends. He learned to recognize opportunities that couldn't be scheduled but required presence to perceive. Within 2 years, this balanced approach led to his company's breakthrough moment, an acquisition offer that was 50 times his company's annual revenue. The opportunity emerged not from his Chronos efficiency, but from a relationship cultivated during unproductive time and an insight gained during reflective thought. Thomas later reflected, "For years, I treated all hours as identical units to be filled with maximum productivity. I never understood that some moments carry exponentially more potential than others if you're present enough to recognize and seize them." This distinction between Chronos and Kairos offers profound wisdom for mastering the power of time. 1. Chronos efficiency creates the foundation. Disciplined use of sequential time builds capacity, resources, and reliability. 2. Kairos awareness creates breakthrough moments. Sensitivity to timing, relationships, and opportunity leads to exponential rather than incremental progress. 3. Overemphasis on Chronos creates burnout and missed opportunities. When every moment becomes a unit of production, we lose the perspective needed to recognize pivotal moments. 4. Neglect of Chronos creates instability and unreliability. Without disciplined use of sequential time, we lack the foundation to capitalize on opportunities when they appear. The mastery of time requires balancing both dimensions, becoming efficient within Chronos while remaining receptive to Kairos. This balanced approach means sometimes sacrificing short-term productivity to develop the awareness, relationships, and insights that recognize opportune moments. Consider how this balance might apply in your life. Do you maintain enough margin in your schedule to notice opportunities? Have you developed the discernment to distinguish between routine moments and pivotal ones? Does your pursuit of efficiency sometimes blind you to unexpected possibilities? Have you cultivated the relationships and awareness that would alert you to emerging opportunities? The power of time exists not just in how much we accomplish within it, but in our ability to recognize and seize the moments that matter most. Section 6. Time and Identity, Becoming Through Doing. Perhaps the most profound aspect of time's power lies in its relationship to our identity. We often think of time as something we use to accomplish tasks, but in reality, time is the medium through which we become who we are. Every choice we make within time shapes not just our circumstances, but our character. The activities we engage in consistently don't just produce external results, they transform us from within. Consider Michael, who grew up in challenging circumstances with limited educational opportunities. At 23, he worked two jobs to support himself while harboring a dream of becoming a writer. However, his daily reality left little time or energy for writing. Michael made a seemingly small decision: he would write for just 15 minutes each morning before work. The output from these brief sessions was minimal, sometimes just a paragraph or two. By conventional productivity standards, this effort would be dismissed as insignificant. But Michael understood something profound about time and identity. He recognized that the act of writing daily, even briefly, would gradually transform him into a writer, regardless of immediate output. For 3 years, Michael maintained this modest practice, gradually increasing his daily writing time as his identity shifted. He began to think like a writer, observe the world like a writer, and solve problems like a writer. The practice reshaped his neural pathways and self-concept. In his 5th year of consistent writing, Michael published his first novel to critical acclaim. When interviewers asked about his overnight success, he would smile knowingly. The book had taken a year to write, but the writer had been forming for half a decade. Michael's story illustrates a fundamental truth. Time doesn't just help us do things, it helps us become things. Consider these principles. 1. Identity-based habits are more sustainable than outcome-based habits. When we connect activities to our emerging identity, consistency becomes natural rather than forced. 2. Small actions repeated over time reshape our self-concept. The person who runs for 10 minutes 3 times weekly eventually begins to see themselves as a runner, which then sustains the habit. 3. Time converts actions into identity through neurological and psychological processes. Repeated behaviors create neural pathways that eventually become automatic and identity congruent. 4. Our most valuable use of time may be actions that transform who we are, not just what we have or what we've accomplished. This perspective shifts how we evaluate our use of time. The question becomes not just what did I accomplish today, but who am I becoming through my daily choices? Consider how you might apply this wisdom. Identify the person you wish to become, not just what you want to achieve. Design small, consistent actions that align with that identity. Recognize that transformation through time requires patience and trust in the process. Celebrate identity shifts as they occur, knowing they will eventually produce external results. When we understand time as the medium of becoming, we approach each day differently. Mundane moments take on profound significance as opportunities for identity reinforcement. We become less fixated on immediate outcomes and more invested in the process of becoming. This may be time's greatest power, not just helping us do more, but transforming who we are through our consistent choices. Section 7. Temporal Legacy, the Echo of Your Time. How will the use of your time echo into the future? This question introduces our final dimension of time's power, its ability to extend our influence beyond our physical presence. Each of us leaves what might be called a temporal legacy, the lasting impact of how we chose to spend our limited hours. This legacy ripples outward, affecting people we may never meet and continuing long after our time on Earth concludes. Elena, a middle school English teacher, understood this principle deeply. For 32 years, she taught in the same school district, working with thousands of students during her career. Unlike some colleagues who measured success through test scores or administrative advancement, Elena took a longer view of her impact. She invested extraordinary time in individual students, particularly those facing personal challenges. She wrote personalized notes of encouragement, created customized reading plans, and maintained relationships with former students for decades. These actions required significant time, often extending beyond school hours into evenings and weekends. 20 years after her retirement, at Elena's memorial service, the temporal power of her choices became evident. More than 400 former students attended, many traveling considerable distances. One by one, they shared how Elena's investment of time had altered the trajectory of their lives. A successful surgeon described how Elena had stayed after school 3 days weekly to help him improve his reading skills when he was struggling. A renowned poet credited Elena with recognizing and nurturing her talent when she was an insecure teenager. A prison reform advocate explained how Elena's letters during his incarceration had given him hope and direction. Elena's story illustrates the profound truth that time invested in others creates ripples that extend far beyond our awareness or lifespan. The time we dedicate to mentoring, teaching, encouraging, and connecting may yield its most significant impact decades in the future through paths we cannot trace. Consider these principles of temporal legacy. 1. Time invested in people generally yields greater long-term impact than time invested in things. Human connections create compound effects as influence spreads from person to person. 2. The most significant uses of time often show no immediate return but create lasting change through relationships, knowledge transfer, and character formation. 3. Time invested in developing others, whether children, students, employees, or community members, creates exponential rather than linear returns. 4. Our most meaningful legacy rarely comes from what we personally accomplish, but from what we enable others to accomplish. As you consider your temporal legacy, reflect on these questions. How might your use of time affect people beyond your immediate circle? What investments of time could create positive ripples for future generations? Are you balancing achievement with contribution in how you allocate your hours? What knowledge, wisdom, or resources should you be passing to others while you have time to do so? The power of time extends far beyond what we can see in the moment. When we appreciate this dimension, we begin to evaluate our choices not just by immediate productivity but by their potential to echo positively through time. Closing reflection. We've explored the multifaceted nature of time mastery, time as our pathway to extraordinary living, as a psychological experience, as an amplifier of energy, as a compounding force, as both Chronos and Kairos, as the medium of becoming, and as the creator of our legacy. Yet perhaps the greatest key to extraordinary living lies in the present moment, this moment where all possibilities exist and all choices are available to you. The past, with all its regrets and triumphs, is complete. The future, with all its anxieties and hopes, remains unwritten. This moment right now is where your mastery begins. As this arc concludes, I invite you to consider, how will you use the gift of time that remains for you? What extraordinary experiences will you create? Who will you become through your choices? What legacy will your hours leave behind? The clock continues its steady rhythm for each of us, offering no more and no less than 60 minutes each hour, 24 hours each day. Yet within that consistent framework lies the extraordinary possibility of a life well lived, of potential fulfilled, of meaningful impact. The key to extraordinary living awaits your grasp. Use it wisely. You've been listening to Mastering Time, the Key to Extraordinary Living, presented by DQuotes. For more motivational content that can transform your life, subscribe to our channel and activate notifications to never miss our upcoming releases. Thank you for investing your valuable time with us today.